Oh my gosh, Andy, it's that time again.
Yes,
We're
it
one
is.
minute, we're 1 minute behind schedule for Andy Talks Real Estate. We have so much to talk about.
Yes, yeah, we do. Actually, we do have a lot to talk about. The market has changed significantly, and things are definitely into a spring market. Yes.
You know what? I'm going to take just a tiny pause because your page number one, people out there on Facebook Live, thank you for tuning in live when we go Andy Talks Real Estate and more. I'm the more part of Andy Talks Real Estate. And I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jeanette Martin. I'm a local businesswoman in the Langley area, and I have a company called MYBC Consulting. And once a month, Andy allows me to hijack his Facebook page because I am one curious lady about what goes on in the real estate market. And who better to talk about real estate than my friend Andy, who's been doing it, it's 25 plus years, if I remember correctly?
We're coming up to 30 years. Time does slip by. Yes, yeah. All sorts of markets, all sorts of ups, downs, flat, reversed, fast forward. I've been learning throughout those 30 years. So
Oh,
yeah.
I bet. So let's get into it because just
Okay.
before we get on, guys, so you're aware, we have a little chitty chat. We'll call it the green room, as I call it in the biz, about what's going on. And I had something that came top of mind as Andy was sharing what he's going to be talking about today. And I want to see if what I asked, the numbers prove it. So let's get into it, Andy.
Okay, let me share my screen and move right into our market statistics for April and ending in March. So what we've seen here in this last quarter is that the our sales have increased, and for the month of March, we've actually saw 1,550 sales. That's a 72.6% increase from February of this year. So like sales have started to skyrocket up, but that is still just about a 40% decrease from last year. So, and last year was the height. Last year was the absolute top of the market throughout all the neighborhoods of the Fraser Valley. So we're still 40% below of our market high. However, and this is really important, the supply of new inventory in March increased 32% from February of this year, processing 2,559 listings. However, it is still a decrease of 44% compared to March of last year when we had the high. So we're coming into another low inventory session, and this could really affect our pricing. To look at it in terms of a graph, here we are. This is us right now, and with our 2,553 listings and our sales of 1,542 compared to last month. And so you can see that our listings are up slightly, our sales are significantly up. However, compared to March, which was the high, the market very, very high, crazy times, we had 4,562 listings in the month of March 2022 with 2,500 sales. So this, you can see this decrease in inventory as opposed to this increase in sales. We're going to have some inventory problems here very quickly.
So Andy, it bears the question, how many listings do you have right now?
All my listings have sold. And so
wow.
I've got several coming up in the next couple of weeks. But yes, if this is the time that you're considering making a move, then this is a very this could be a very opportune time, because we don't know if this is going to continue either. We could be just seeing a bit of a blip where the market has come down so far that and buyers were feeling that they wanted to wait and see, and now they might be jumping in, and this is what we could be seeing, and that we might see this blip for a couple months and then level off again. So it you need to be in that kind of position. And this graph here is our or months of inventory, and you can see how over the past few years, the foreign buyers tax, the mortgage stress test when that came in, and COVID, how the market was affected in terms of inventory. And of course, with COVID, inventory went way down. Interest rate change, that was last year in March when the market peaked, and you can see that we went right up into a balanced market. However, look at this, we're down to 2.5 months of inventory in the Fraser Valley. It dropped by 50%. And so we went from 5% to 2.5% inventory, and or 5 months to 2.5 months inventory. So that is very significant, and that is going to you need to follow inventory because that'll dictate where prices are going. And
so I'm going to just pause you just for a second because my curious little head,
Sure.
I'm a visual thinker and I'm looking at these numbers, hearing what you're saying. Is now we're going to get into this multiple bid situation again? Yes, I've got my head wrapped around this is what my mortgage rate is going to be. Yes, that I need to move up, down, sideways. Oh my gosh, there's only 2.5 months of inventory. Are we going to go back into the kind of the multi offers again?
Yeah, we have actually seen a couple of situations of multiple offers. Some way out of whack. There was one in Walnut Grove that reported 20 offers upon presentation. So a little bit of that. The two sales that I've had so far this year, we did have them listed for last year, and we were in a position of being at a lower price, and they did sell for higher this spring, and so it was a very good thing that we didn't sell last year. And that one of the listings I have coming on next week on Wright Street will be slightly higher than the price that we had on last fall. So yeah, so we're starting to see that price increase. We're starting to see a little bit of multiple offer, but I think that should balance out. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, there's gonna need a bit more enthusiasm before we see a constant, and that one particular situation was the home was priced a little too low, and it was caught in the sweep of the last month or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and so here we've got showing our Fraser Valley MLS statistic for inventory as the previous graphic, just breaking it down into, so we got 2.1 months of inventory for the apartments, 1.16 for condo townhouses, and for detached homes it's almost 3%, which is well below the balanced market and considerably less than the previous month. If we move forward into our pricing, you can see that, and this is based on the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board Housing Price Index, which is a algorithm that the board put together for what an average home in the Fraser Valley would look like in terms of detached townhouses and condos. And so, here you can see in January we hit bottom. Last month I was a little enthusiastic and said, hey, it'll get an uptick. Well, we've had 2 months of uptick here for detached homes, 2 months of uptick in terms of townhouses, and with 2 months of uptick in condos. So we are seeing a price increase. It's all based on inventory, so we'll see where it goes. But whether we'll actually see a huge rise in terms of a pricing based on this big drop, I don't know. I always like to look at this line here that sort of tells you that's the the baseline, and you might see something in terms of that rate. So that would mean almost 8 months before we would see previous pricing. And the same with you can see that kind of baseline. That's what people look at it in graphs. So we kind of touch the bottom of that baseline here. You can see it, and so technically, if you're a graph person, you would recognize that.
Yes. Crazy question as I look at this, is typically how long does somebody stay in, say, an apartment before they move to a townhouse, or maybe from a townhouse up to a house? Because something I'm seeing here, I'm just wondering what the numbers are saying.
Of course, people in condos, I think, and townhomes might be 3 to 5 years. and detached homes is 7 to 15 or 20. You know,
Yeah.
you look at a place like Fort Langley, the average turnover, I think, is over 20 years, because it is
Wow.
it is an end destination. People move to a place like Fort Langley, they have a detached home, they raise their family, and then, you know, in 20 or 30 years, the home is too big for them, so then they downsize, but they like to downsize inside the community. Walnut Grove, you know, it's a little bit more transitory, so we probably are about 7 to 12 years in terms of detached homes. But yeah, condominiums, you know, people are buying a condominium, it's their starter home, and that's where they start to build equity, and then move into a townhome, or jump into a detached home.
Well, I almost see this as, when I see this graph and what my imagery connected to these numbers is, when we hit the COVID shutdown, and we kind of had there was a lot of movement of people, whether I had too big a house and I went smaller, or I had my house wasn't big enough, I needed to, because kids are staying at home, I needed to go bigger. And that whole, it's been almost 3 years since people were figuring that out. That could that be what's going to happen this year? Is, again, people are going to understand, oh, I really downsized too small, I need to go back up, or I went too big and I need to come back down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want to move that much. I mean, so if they bought in the last 2 years, I'm thinking that, you know, most people, they want to stay where they are
Okay.
and build that equity. And if they, especially if they bought within the last year and a half. But there was a lot of movement, and that's what the Fraser Valley price index is showing. There was a lot of movement out
Mhm.
from Vancouver, and that I've got another graph here, or another number, which I'll just move over. And this one is it's around the whole province, and it's talking about the average price year over year. And you can see that Greater Vancouver, the prices only dropped 5.1%
Wow.
year over year. Whereas out here in the Fraser Valley, it dropped 19.9%, because we had all this movement out here, and then that movement stopped. And so that's what really brought our pricing down. However, this now, if you buy now, this is the biggest chance of the recovery, so that
Mhm.
this is where you're going to make the most gain. So if
Okay.
you're looking to buy, this is the numbers that you would be looking at, the 19.9, because that is going to tell you that's going to turn around and make the biggest jump back. And it's interesting too, because Chilliwack, Fraser Valley is basically the same market.
Mhm. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, right? They just don't
Oh,
lie.
no.
They don't lie.
Yeah, I know. I follow them with great interest. So that okay, so let's look at Langley here. So again, you know, our balanced market, the numbers are way down. I think the detached homes was over 2%, 2 months, 2.5 months, or and so now we're dropped down by at least 50%, and condos and townhomes are also way down. So there is a good market for these right now in terms of selling, and if you're buying, you need to be um, you need to be a little patient. And that's also too, inventory. It just comes down to inventory. You throw up
Mhm.
more inventory, and these numbers would increase by significant gains. And then, of course, if we look at our pricing, then because of this lack of inventory, you can see that we did hit a low in January, February,
Mhm.
March, and it's not a huge increase. So the average price has gone from you know, the lowest of 1,462,400 to 1,485,400. So it's like a 1% gain or so, but it's starting to show that leveling off. And
Mhm.
same with the townhouses. Look at that, townhouses actually dropped in the last month from 860 to 801 to 796. So townhouses on the average, that's just showing you that the market is flat, and it's going to go up a little bit, and it's going to go down a little bit. And but we don't want to see any kind of craziness, because, you know, the stability of the market is good. I mean, we need
Right.
stability. Craziness, just, you know, buyers are worried that they're paying too much, they're stressed out. Sellers are thinking, if I don't get enough money, then when I'm going to buy, I'm going to be in
Mhm.
trouble. So hopefully we have a more even keel marketplace. So
Awesome.
that's where we're at with
That's
our
just
market.
amazing.
Yeah. No, it is an amazing turnaround. We saw something like that in after 2008. Vancouver
Right.
went way further lower in pricing than the Fraser Valley, and they rebounded like just within 6 months to previous price levels. I don't think we're going to see that this time around, but the market can rebound.
And I know we were briefly talking about, before we get into this, about immigration. Was it last month that I heard that Canada had one of the largest immigration, and somebody spun it around and said, okay, but where are all these people going to live? Or the people that migrated here 6 months ago, a year ago, and now they've got their status. Now they're, now they can buy. Now I think that's going, what's your thoughts about that
Yeah.
having an effect on the housing market too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 150,000 people came
Yes.
to BC in the last month, or was it the last year? I can't remember, but it is, there are significant numbers of immigration going to happen. Not everybody has a lot of money, but it does push up that bottom end. And
Mhm.
also too, they are they're with family, and so they're building equity. They're going to be buying homes, and we need to really have more housing built, and it just comes down to that. We need the immigration because our employment hours are so poor. Like, people are
Mhm.
screaming for, if you've got a heartbeat, you've got a job. My daughter, she had 3 or 4 job opportunities for the summer. She's going to school, and it's just every restaurant would grab her, and it's there. So that is going to, we need that, again, a balance, of course, but we need, that immigration is going to fill that job need, but also it's going to be putting pressure on not only our housing market, but our medical system and all our infrastructure. So we need to make sure that there's a plan in place, and I'm really hoping that the provincial and federal governments do put a plan in place.
So let's swing over to
Yeah,
this slide. Did you like
yeah,
my little segue there?
yeah.
So we both sit as a board, on the board of the Fort Langley Jazz and Arts Festival. You are an
Very much.
original founder, over a glass of wine many moons
Yes,
ago.
yeah.
And we've
I
got some big stuff happening on May the 12th. Andy, do you know how
Yeah,
to swing dance?
no, but there will be instructors there to help, and there'll be a little bit of a demonstration. It's a fundraiser because the Fort Langley Jazz Festival is a nonprofit, and we rely on people to support our efforts, and we do get grants and sponsorship, but it's this is an opportunity that if you really feel comfortable
Yes.
and love the jazz festival, that you can come out and help support us, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and it should be a great show. It's only limited to I think 150, 160.
Yeah, very intimate, but a lot of room for dancing.
Yeah, a lot of room for dancing, and it's in the community hall in Fort Langley. So that's always a great place to do that. And of course, it's like that building that is just so suited for a big band
Yeah.
swing dance, and of that 1930s and 40s. The We are going to have silent auctions. And it's Mother's Day the next day, so
Yes.
we're looking forward to getting several Mother Day cakes that will be up for silent auction, and that you can surprise your mom with a very special cake.
And I think we've got some flowers lined up that you could bid
Yes.
on for mom. And you know what, Andy? I gotta say, when we were thinking about what we were gonna charge for this, I think we really undercharged for the tickets. It's only $35, people,
Yes. Yeah.
for from 7 until 11. A cash bar, like Andy was saying, silent auction, great music. I can remember when we had the swing dancers last year, came and did a little demonstration in front. It was so much great energy. And I'm going to say that if you're not going to be around in the summertime, though I think you should be, for our 4-day
Yes.
festival,
Yeah.
this could give you a little taste, so you can make sure that you're still supporting us at the Fort Langley Jazz and Arts Festival.
Yes, but yeah. It's if you're not around, this is a great time.
Yes.
And it is a festival done, like we're all volunteers and we're all a nonprofit, and there's a lot of effort. There's a ton of volunteers that work at this at the festival itself, and this is the opportunity to show your support, and so that we continue on, and for the future, because I mean, again, the Vancouver Folk Fest, they were in financial difficulties. I think it was Merritt or Squamish, they shut down.
Mhm.
It's been really tough on festivals and on music and culture. And I mean, we thrive on music and culture, and it's very
Yes.
important to maintain this in our community, because it works for your public health. And
Absolutely.
and-
So why
and-
don't you swing on back over to
yeah,
full screen?
yes, I will.
Awesome, there you are. So there you
Yeah,
go. Wow.
yeah,
I just so enjoy our monthly chitty chats, because I'm starting to remember what some of those slides were, especially the balance market slides. That's the most fascinating to me, because I spent my years of, before I started my own company, in retail. I worked for some of the big giants, and when you are low in inventory, you can make a lot of customers very unhappy. So I think it's high time that you find that next home. Maybe move into Fort Langley for your forever home.
yes,
And
yes.
Andy can list your home wherever it is, and help you. Or yeah, I think it's the time. I think it's time to move and come swing into Fort Langley.
Yeah, yeah, come swinging into Port Langley or Langley on the whole. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Langley is a great place to live. It is I think very underrated. We have a lot of things going on in Langley, and Abbotsford's a little too far away. Surrey has other I'm not quite sure how to put it, but it's just other ways of doing things. And I think Langley's the best. And
absolutely.
it's the center point of the Fraser Valley, and soon to be, I think, the center point of British Columbia.
And that's a perfect place to leave it, Andy. So we will
Okay.
chat again next month
Yeah. Yes.
for Andy Talks Real Estate and More, as I hijack Andy's Facebook page one more
See ya.
time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Hands. Hands for jazz.